Day-Day, you're a couple days removed from setting a program record for consecutive free throws made. Looks like you're already well on track to breaking your own record.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing. I'm very, very honored and appreciative of that award and breaking that record. And I can't do that without my teammates and my dedication to this game and love. So I'm just appreciative of that, and I'm trying to just keep it going and just help the team.
And especially down the stretch of the second half, that really came in clutch for you guys. Your ability to get to the line and make those shots, especially when you guys maybe weren't making a lot of shots in the field. Just how critical was it for you guys for you to be able to just get to the line and score points that way?
It's very, very critical and important. I take it a bit personal and to strategy because I know it's pretty easy points, I would say, for most guys who try and get to the free throw line and who work on them. So I try to just make the game as simple as possible by not necessarily thinking it through as much, but just thinking things through in that moment as fast as I can and just trying to get to the basket in the right times when we're in a bonus and double bonuses. I just try to key on that.
Fousseyni, you and your brother combined for 19 points against your former team. What was it like going up against them after playing with them for so many years?
After making history with them, nothing is like playing against them. So now people get to see from outside, and then it's fun to watch game like that. He felt good, to be honest. He felt good.
Fousseyni, once you and your brother entered into the game, you guys provided pretty much a spark to the team, helping them, go on a 12-0 run, which, you guys never relinquished that lead. Just talk about, what you and your brother bring to this team, especially, that first play, you track down that loose ball, you find your brother, and he goes in and attacks the rim and completes the play.
When it comes to this team, they already have a winning culture, and then we also have a winning culture. We just there to complete them, whatever the coach wants us to do or whoever the team need us to do, we just fitting the puzzle and do whatever it takes to win.
For either of you guys, it was kind of an up and down game. What do you look back on and say was probably the biggest reason why you're able to win?
Excuse me. First, looking back, piggybacking off my guy, really just their key, their spark, the twins, man. Their spark came in. They came in and turned the game around, in my opinion. And that was a really, really key drive and stretch down the floor to help us out and key out this win.
Day-Day, you have that big steal. At the beginning of the second half, it's a play that not a lot of people would make, especially at that point in the game. 4 seconds in. What did you see in that moment, and how important are plays like that for you?
I'm not gonna lie right now. I do not remember that steal right now, but I'm not even gonna lie. But I think I was just really just trying to play off my instincts and anticipate the pass or dribble to just help the team. Really just being in gap defense, helping my teammates, being a helper to then so I can know that they can help me out when it comes to me having to guard or when I need help. So just playing that role, knowing that I got my guys and I know they got my back, I just try to keep that in my mind on the defensive end.
Day-Day, these guys weren't particularly known as a pretty hot shooting three-point team. They did seem to make a good amount of them tonight. It wasn't really one guy doing the damage. It seemed pretty spread out. Just were you guys a little surprised at how many threes they were attempting, and just how well do you feel like you were able to defend the perimeter as the game went on?
Yeah, they hit some ill-advised shots that we weren't expecting, and then we had to regroup after about the second half and notice and recognize that those guys can shoot, and not only that we knew they can shoot, but they just didn't take a lot of threes, certain guys, so we weren't really keyed on to that three-point shooting. So we really just dove into our scouting report, know our personnel coming into the second half to know and guard that three-line better.
Fousseyni, you had a big week to sort of establish yourself as part of the rotation. Hassan sort of came along a little slower than you. I would argue this is probably his best week the past couple of games. What have you seen from his development that sort of gotten him more comfortable into the rotation?
I think as people always say, no matter what happened in the team, for example, he's new, we both new in the team, and then, like I said in the beginning, they have a culture where you need to, how do we say, like prove to the coach, like he's just not gonna hand it because we're not the type that love to like be given. We would love to prove. As you know, our stories since St. Peter, we don't want given. We always want to prove. So I think that's his mindset. He come every day, no matter what happened. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes is what you do with those 2 minutes. I think that's his mindset since the beginning. What can he do in those 2 minutes to contribute of winning?
Fousseyni, you're over to your third team now in 3 years. You're about a third of the way through the season. What's been the best part about being at Duquesne this year?
Yeah, brotherhood. That, like those teammates, I never felt close to any of my teammates in the locker room, and then outside. For example, I have like a brotherhood in St. Peter that I created over 3 years, but this it was just instant. I didn't have to create it didn't take time to bound.
Data, you've been in college basketball for now 5 seasons. I'm just curious on your thoughts on this Sunday. Princeton takes on St. Joe's. You're familiar with Princeton. Obviously, St. Joe's is a conference foe. Do you have any kind of rooting interest when it comes to a team that you've already played and one that potentially see them look as good as possible, or a conference foe that you want to have as good a resume? Does that game have any interest, or?
To be honest, no. To me, I don't have any interest in those two teams playing. When we play either of those teams, like when we play Princeton and when we soon to be play St. Joe's, then I'll be having focus, to be honest. But shoot, good luck to both of those teams. I mean, I wish them well in a safety game, but until those games get here, or until that game get here, I'm really just focused on us, and then I'm still focused on us when we go and play St. Joe's. So we're really just competing against ourselves, and we tend to try and just know that and carry that on our shoulders and back just to get the best out of us.
Any questions for these guys? Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate you guys.
So we put our guys in a tough position, really. I'm not going to make any excuses for them, but look, I was tired, and maybe it's because I'm 65 years old, but we got back we probably didn't go to sleep till 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then had a quick turnaround and play. And that was like mud wrestling. You know, they're physical, they're good defensively, they're strong. You know, we just couldn't put them out. You know, we had some open ones to put them out, we didn't. But look, we survived, and we knew we had to survive in advance. We didn't have to be pretty, but we had to survive in advance, so I give our guys credit. So as bad as Jimmy was in the first half, and I can say this because I told him directly and we both laughed about it, as god-awful as he was in the first half, he won the game for us in the second half. That's a good thing about me. You get directness and honesty.
After what was a close start, you turned to your bench and the Drame brothers came out against their former team, kind of gave you guys a spark to that 12-0 run. Talk about their play and what they were able to do early in that game.
I thought they played better than anybody we had, really. The one thing about them is they're going to put a lot of time into the game, and they're going to play as hard as they can play every single day, every single minute that they're out there. So I don't think there's any question that they were the impetus for us winning.
Mentioning Trey's rough first half, part of that was some turnovers against the press. Any concern going forward against facing teams that are going to press you hard? Anything you feel like you need to work on now?
I mean, we need to work on it, but we kind of solved it in the second half. We really didn't have any problems. We just threw it to the wrong color uniforms. I felt like I was coaching in the 5th grade. You know, I don't know, but that's how he is. Like, sometimes he'll explode, and then sometimes he'll make some plays that'll just baffle you. But in the end, he's always going to make plays that matter.
Day had that steal 4 seconds in.
You don't mind me laughing at that, right? I'm just glad you didn't fall and crack your head open on that thing.
No, I had it under control, Coach.
That was really graceful.
Appreciate it.
Oh, boy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Day had that steal 4 seconds into the second half. It's not the first time we've seen him instinctually make a play like that this season. How much of a benefit is it to have a defensive player like Day in moments like that?
Was it Day or Trey? I can't remember. Day on that one. I mean, Day's going to play hard every night. You know, he didn't have a great night shooting the ball, but he plays hard, and one thing he's going to do is he's going to make free throws. And so he's a good teammate. You know, he's really worked hard at the defensive end to get better, and that was a big play that got us out of the box a little bit in the second half.
How do you feel you guys were able to defend the perimeter tonight, maybe first half to second half? It seems like they always just had a kind of a timely three to pull out of the back pocket. To your point about them just hanging around, refusing to go down quietly.
They made 8 threes tonight. That's the most threes they've made all year. You know, so we caught them on a nice night for them. I thought, relatively speaking, their 5-man made 2 threes, which, you know, when that happens, you're in a little bit of trouble. And then they made open threes, which they haven't done most of the year. They've won. He's a good coach. Like, he changes defenses on you. He'll press you. He'll play zone. He'll play man. They're very physical. You know, he's with Danny Hurley at Wagner before he got the head coaching job. So, you know, they teach toughness. But they made 8 threes tonight, which made it a more interesting game than maybe it normally would have been.
You got in the usual production that you've seen from Fousseyni, Drame, but past couple of days, Hassan has sort of given you also a lift. What have you seen from him in his development that sort of got him sort of on par with his brother of late?
I thought Hassan has had 2 really good games in a row. If you look at the plus-minus in the first half, it was really good today, and he had a really good plus-minus at Marshall. And funny story is I asked both Drames yesterday if they were tired, and they said, no, you know why. And that's a good thing, man. They want to play more and more and more. So you could take it personally and say that's a bad thing, but I like it because they want to play. So they said, you know why. So basically saying because of you, dumb, right? And so they played well, and they deserve it because they put time in every single day.
And speaking of which, David Dixon also another game with 5 blocks, and you sort of, in past few games, had those 3 come together off the bench and sort of have rotations outside foul trouble. With Trey Williams potentially returning soon, how's that going to affect your front court rotation now that you seem to have finally had a pattern?
You had to ask me that. We got Trey Williams, and Dushan's going to come back too. So, like, Dushan's probably a game and a half from playing. So you answer the question. I really don't want to deal with it right now. I'm going to enjoy the win and then see 16 guys miserable because they're not playing as much as they want to play, which is...
So there's a chance Dusan could be ready for Santa Clara? Possibility, at least?
I mean, I think certainly for Cleary, and then we'll see how it goes with him. But he started to non-contact practice, and he's moving good, and he's a hard worker too now, and with a good brain. So, you know, it's a hard deal because those young big kids are getting better. You know, you can see him, even Chabi, like he did some good things tonight. Not all the way there yet, but those guys are getting better. They're protecting the rim pretty good. They're icing ball screens well, you know, so it won't be easy. And then Trey, you know, we got a pretty good deal with Andre and Fousseyni splitting that 4 spot. It's tough. You know, and then you're talking about Jakob, who we cut back a little bit because he was sick, and Matouche and those guys. It's like we probably got the best 10 through 13 in the league, right? We may not have the best 5, but that puts pressure on the coach and the players. It's hard. I feel for them. It's hard. You can't be happy. Even when your team wins, you still have to think about yourself a little bit, right? Like, so your question's a really good one, but the only way I know how to do it is play who's playing the best. Right? That's the only way I know how. And so it might mean Hassan, using him as an example, gets 20 minutes one night and 10 the next, or, you know, and then, you know, maybe we snip a little bit of Jimmy, Kareem, and Day just to try to freshen them up a little bit. But the hard part about that is now you're playing. You don't want too many guys out there at one time that are, that's the hard part too. Is how many, and then how do you get any rhythm like that? That's hard. I tend to do it a little more in the first half than the second half. That was a long-winded answer.
Can you take us behind the scheduling curtain? How'd you end up with 2 games in 3 days here?
If you knew how hard it is to schedule, I mean, we were scared to death we weren't going to have enough games. Like, we couldn't. So St. Peter had one date, and we said, oh, the hell with it. We'll just play. I mean, we didn't have any choice. Rick Christensen will tell you because he's involved in it. It's like now you go into September trying to get games. Before you used to be done in April. It's ridiculous. So it's not smart. Now we're off for 10 days, right? We don't play for 10 days. That's not smart either. And then we went a week, and then we played 2 and, do what you got to do, though.
Is there an advantage to, I mean, I know it's not ideal to have 2 games in 3 days, but is there an advantage to it, especially when you consider postseason play?
Well, I think there's an advantage period. Like, guys really don't want practice all that much. They'd rather play than practice. And, we have enough guys that we could survive it. We survived it. I thought our guys played hard. We didn't always get it done, but we played hard. And then you're right. You gotta win 3, 4, 5 games, right? Like, boom, boom, boom. So, there's an advantage. And we've done it multiple times this season, right? We played, 3 games in 8 days? Something like that? 3 and 5. So, you got to have enough juice to win the tournament. So, in some ways, it's a good point. It's not great when it happens, though. Anything else? All right. Thank you.